that, well, it was going to continue. There were those who also cautioned earlier on that, look, it looks like we're having a kind of wholesale change in the team, because if you look at some of the players that exited, these are key players. I mean, if you take the unfortunate issue of the demise of Diogo Jota, who, if not for injury, is obviously a first 11 player. And then you look at Nunes and Diaz leaving. These are key players who have played together with Salah for a very long time. You know, so you also have had the issue of Arnold on the right side.
Alexander-Arnold.
It looks like every attack of Liverpool, set pieces and everything is actually be him. You know, and you have him also leaving. And then you have a situation where Kekes is brought in because you're trying to plan the retirement of Robertson. You know, so it looks like you're creating a new team. And so yes, and so the people who, you know, thought that, look, something is going to give with the kind of wholesale changes that were happening. There were those who thought that, look, players can just slot in and then begin to deliver. But we're seeing the reality. And you know, there are many also said that what happened last season had to do with perhaps the work of Klopp, and that Slot only came into, he inherited a team and has just benefited from what Klopp created, and that this is now his new creation, and so we'll now begin to see what he's made of. But I think it's early days yet. Bouncing back or rebounding from what has happened in the last 4 games also will go a long way in speaking to the competence and capacity of Slots. And of course, the players themselves owe it to also show something. I mean, I can understand how some of the price tags can weigh in on the players, but they all need to appreciate the fact that for many of the players that they met in Liverpool today, if they were also on the market today, they could perhaps attract the same transfer fees. That is where the market is today. And so they just need to deal with it and deliver. And we're hoping that tonight we'll get a good game, and that will then signal the bounce, and then we can get back to the Premier League and do something.
If Eintracht will surprise you tonight, I'm sure that it will deepen the woes.
Well, that will increase the pressure on Slots. It will increase the pressure on the management to act, you know. But I'm still calm. I'm not.
You're not going to do a dimension yet.
You know, that's what Kojo did.
Extremely hyper on Slot. Says it should go away.
Kojo is. I mean, the man can just pick his backpack and fly to Liverpool to go and watch a game. So that is how passionate he is. And committed to the cause. So I can understand him. But I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. Okay. Well, how do you juggle between GFA, management committee member, ESCO member, and then CEO of Cocoa Board? How do you juggle?
Well, you see, first of all, the GFA thing is not a full-time job.
Yes.
It's not my everyday job. And for the ESCO, really, you only attend meetings. So today we had a board meeting, you know. So you attend meetings, and then if there are any emergency issues, they are put on the platform for a discussion. So really, it doesn't really take my time. It doesn't take my time. For the Black Stars Management Committee too, it's also something which is not a daily affair. I mean, those who do the daily monitoring of players and all that are the technical team. I mean, we also today, by virtue of by the benefit of technology, you don't need to, you know, back in the day when we started, sourcing information was something else. Today, it's
in the palm of your hands.
Yes, and so it's not difficult. We're all subscribed to some of those
sites and apps.
Those sites and apps, and we're able to monitor players, their performance and everything, even without watching the game itself. And so the data is available, the information is available. So it's not difficult. I was speaking to some young journalists, and I told them, I was recounting the day that I was asked to, Babo, may so rest in peace, asked me to go on a critical analysis, then hosted by Mr. Ernest Thompson.
Yeah.
You know, and they were going to discuss the Keita Sea Defense Project. And on the panel, you had the Honorable Kwamna Battles. He was a minority on Works and Housing. Then you had
Squadron Leader Su.
I remember then that well. You had Professor Mausi Dake. You know, and I, this small boy, was asked to go and join the panel.
Yeah.
And that night, I had to spend the whole night in the Radio Gold newsroom, going through newspapers, the Graphic, Ghanaian Times, Abbey Chronicle, to find stories
about the Keita
Sea Defense Project, so that I could prepare for the game. If it were today, all I needed was my phone, you know. And I was in there for 6 hours before I could get enough information to be able to come sit with all these big men. This was 1997.
Yeah.
You know, so today things have changed. Life has been made a bit more easier. I mean, having access to information and all that is not too difficult. And so I see this like serving on boards. I mean, there are many boards that we serve on and all that. So it really doesn't take a lot of your time. It's only when you need to do the travel.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to do the travel, especially the Black Stars. So in a month where we have games, it means that then I have to spend some 3 days out of town to make sure that. But I think that is also a sacrifice which is worth it because of the World Cup campaign and all that. So these are not. They are not. Once you manage your time well, you'll be able to do it. I mean, the one that is really suffering is Heart of Lions.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I also have a capable team that are actually running the club. I mean, I've not been able to watch a single match this season. You know, I only follow via social media what is actually happening and the reports I get from both the management and the technical team. Yes, but I've not been able to watch any of the games. So it's fine. We're able to manage.
So what's your typical day like?
My day still starts at 4 a.m. Yes, so
because you were used to Good Morning Ghana.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. for 28 years, and so it's still a part of me. I wake up only to realize that I don't have
a morning show to go and
host. So let me relax. Maybe I finish off with my morning devotion, and then I'd have to then try and look through documents and look at what is up for the day, monitor global prices of cocoa and exchange rate and all that. That's very important. And then the things that are on my desk or my schedule for the day. And then I plan for that before my leave home. I mean, if you see me leave home very early, it means that I have a meeting with my minister. He loves early morning meetings. And so that's typically it. And then you get into the office, meetings upon meetings. And, you know, because cocoa is Ghana. Ghana is cocoa. So you hold this position and it's more of a global thing. So you're not dealing with just people in Ghana and all over the world.
Has the transition been difficult? I mean, as a journalist, you know, you've been on television for 28 years doing the morning show and all that, and then all of a sudden, you know, I know you've done some corporate things in the past, but all of a sudden you find this heavy burden of managing a certain part of Ghana's economy, you know, on your shoulders. How has that transition been, that reality?
Well, it's a challenge that I find quite interesting, and I'm really thankful to His Excellency for believing in me and believing that I have what it takes to really go in there, because I've taken up this position at a really difficult period. I mean, you take over a company that has a negative equity. I mean, Cocoa Board used to lend money to the government of Ghana. Today it has negative equity. Its debt exceeds 30 billion. So that's the kind of institution that taking over with a staff strength of over 10,000. You know, your wage bill for a year is in excess of 2 billion. You know, and then you now get into a situation where you have declining world prices. The prices shot up. And then apart from all this debt and all those the situations I'm describing, you also inherit what you call a rollover of 333,000 tons of cocoa that was sold for 2,600, and yet cocoa board couldn't supply. And you now have to use high price cocoa to supply those contracts. 333,000 tons, not 33,000 or 3,000. You know, so you're talking about losses in excess of $2 billion. You know, anytime you use high price cocoa today to supply that, you're losing between 4,000 to 7,000 US dollars, depending on where the price is at every point in time. So it's kind of a difficult and critical time. And then now you have the prices tanking. And then you also have the issue of the exchange rate. So you get into the organization at a time when you're using 15 cedis to project. And then now you're talking about some 10 point something, which is where we are today. So you're talking about almost a loss of 5 cedis on every dollar. So if you expected to do revenue of, let's say, $4 billion.
And look for the windfall.
Yes, $4 billion. Now, on the basis of where the exchange rate is today, you're looking at a loss of about 20 billion cedis in terms of a projected revenue. Obviously, this is challenging. And so
the gap is huge.
So what it means is that you come in there, you do your projections, you do your simulations and everything, and then you do a projection with 15, then you have to move it to 13, then you have to move it to 12, then you have to look at 11.5.
Was it something did you have an idea what you were walking into?
Well, we knew that it was a troubled institution on the basis of what we do in the media and all that. But I didn't know that this was the depth of it. For example, the issue of the rollover was not something that we knew, but we knew that the level of indebtedness was high. I mean, if you look at road contract alone, I mean, Cocoa Board is not one of the road agencies.
Yes, such in the business of building roads.
So why should Cocoa Board sign road contracts valued at 21 billion? You know, 21 billion. Why should you do that? You know, and sometimes I'm mentioning 4 billion and 5 billion and all that. But Cocoa Board share is not more than 5% of that. So if you sit in that institution, first of all, 70% of that money is going to the farmer. Yes. And so if you sit there and for 1 minute you think that $4 billion or $5 billion belongs to your organization and begin to plan on how to spend on the basis of that, then you begin to get it wrong. So you need to think through and really look at what is actually your share of it and be able to then budget accordingly. You know, so if you had that in mind, why will you then go and sign road contracts valued at 21 billion? How are you going to pay? How will you be able to pay? Your wage bill alone is about 2 billion cedis a year.
Wow. I can imagine what you're confronted with. Do you sleep?
Oh, I do. I try to sleep. I mean, the sleepless nights will come now and then when you open your gadgets and you check and the world prices are tanking or the exchange rate is, you know, going down. And then you see that, we just worked on this. These were my projections. I thought that I'll be able to do this. All of a sudden, on the basis of these changes, I need to readjust. And that then changes the picture. You know, then that's where the sleepless moments come in and all that. Fortunately, I also have a very, very knowledgeable and experienced team at Cocoa Board in terms of my senior management and everybody. I have a good board. The board chairman is also quite experienced. And then I also have a minister who I go to. We speak all the time. We meet all the time. He tries to get involved and understand what the issues are and try and find solutions and all that. So fortunately, I have a good team around me, and we're trying to see how we can deal with the issues.
We can only wish you well. I mean, a few times I've visited you. I've seen the pressure, you know, Charlie plus food soldiers and everybody is coming to you. I mean, I know how it feels, man. You know, but Charlie, can you blame them? Everybody is being the daily occurrence.
It's like you're a medical doctor. You look at your consultation room.
Charlie, next, next, like that. Okay, but anyway, how relieved were you when we eventually qualified? This is not the first time we're qualifying to the World Cup. You've been involved in several of those, but how relieved were you eventually when we qualified for the World Cup?
Well, huge. I mean, this will be my fourth involvement in for the Brazil one. Although I was an ESCO member, I wasn't directly involved, but with the others. Yes. 2006, 2010.
Kwesi's time, 2006, we were communications director of the FA at the time.
2006, 2010, and then 2022, and then this one.
Yeah.
But this is also the very first time that I have chaired the Black Stars Management Committee. You know, previously I chaired the under 23 that won our first gold medal for soccer in the All Africa Games in Maputo. And then I also chaired the under 20 that won the AFCON in 2021 in Mauritania.
Right.
And then now the Black Stars I've chaired, and by the special grace of God, we've qualified for.
Doesn't mean you're going to win the World Cup.
The World Cup.
Because you won under 20 AFCON, you've won under 23 Maputo Africa Games, so they put you back there, and it's not the guarantee you're going to win the World Cup.
The most important thing is that we are on a positive trajectory. I say that because you realize that we had been performing poorly at the AFCON, culminating in us not even qualifying for the AFCON that is going to start in December, you know. And for me, that perhaps was the lowest. I mean, that we couldn't qualify for the AFCON. And so I wasn't surprised that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, when he visited the Black Stars, when I took over, told them in plain language that, look, you've disappointed the entire nation by not qualifying for the AFCON. And what you can do to redeem yourselves and also win back the love and affection of the Ghanaian people is to qualify for the World Cup. And I'm happy that we've been able to do that. So for me, that's a positive trajectory, and I'm hoping and believing that we'll be able to continue working together to ensure that we stay on that positive trajectory and try and get back to the next Nations Cup. First of all, go to the World Cup, acquit ourselves very well, and then look at the next Nations Cup.
Take me to the behind-the-scenes conversations, I mean, that have gone on in terms of the qualification. What were the difficulties along the line?
Well, I mean, I think that one has to do with the issue of funding, because you know that as a country there are competing needs.
Yeah.
And this football games are extremely expensive, you know, so, and sometimes when you have the games back to back like that, you know, you have a finance ministry that has competing needs, because when the finance minister sits there, almost every ministry or agency has a request before him. And of course, you also don't have what covers everything. So you then need to take the decision what to prioritize and all that. And you know, for football, the issue of bonuses and per diems is a shishishi matter. You know, so sometimes having to pool the resources, I mean, the getting the flights and all that, accommodation, per diems, bonuses, salaries of the head coach and his assistants. I mean, all the other logistics that are required for these games is really a challenge. And I'm also happy that we have a sports minister who really is a driver and is somebody who is relentless in terms of getting things done. I mean, fortunately, the finance minister has also been extremely supportive, the chief of staff, and his deputy, Mr. Stan Dogbe. And so you have a situation where everybody along the chain who has to play a role to ensure that we have these releases and we're able to do things have all showed up, come to the party and ensured that whatever has to be provided is provided on time. I'm not saying that it's been rosy. There are times that the sports minister has had to, you know, at a personal risk, take some decisions. You know, the chief of staff has also had to, you know, the personal risk also do certain things myself, you know, but it's not been easy. I mean, traveling, quite a number of these countries that we played didn't have stadia approved in their countries, so I had to play in Morocco and all that. And so the logistics, sometimes even up to a week before the game, you do not know the exact city or stadia that you're going to play in Morocco. That also made planning a bit difficult. And for the coaches on the player side, they always come up with their provisional list, and then there are weekend games, and you are monitoring and praying that nobody gets injured. And if somebody is to get injured, then you really have to look at your standby plan and how quickly you can get a person and all that. You know, but I think that everybody played their role quite well. So it's not been easy, but thankfully, I mean, we work together as a team. I have a fantastic management committee. My vice, Stephen Appiah, always on hand to make sure that everything is happening well. I mean, he will check up on me and inquire about what is going on and take up responsibilities all the time.
So typically, as management committee, what do you guys do typically?
I want to, in fact, if you permit me.
Yes, I will.
I want to read to you what what you want to call the role of the
management
committee is, you know, and it's quite a tall one. But I decided to bring it in the studio, and so you'll be the first to see. So, core duties and roles. So the management committee of the national teams, and this cuts across all national teams, so in this case Black Stars, oversees the day-to-day running of the national teams and ensure that the objectives and vision of the association is achieved by formulating measures that will lead to the eventual success of the team. So that's the broad one. Now it says the duties include A, setting the strategic plan and direction to guide activities of the team. B, to act as the link between the technical team and the FA. C, to ensure that camping facilities are adequate and convenient for the playing body and technical team. D, to ensure that all necessary logistics, such as medicals, training kits, footballs, boots, equipment, is available at the right time and in the right required quantities for the use of a playing body and technical team. E, to pay regular visits to the teams whilst in camp to ascertain their needs. F, to ensure passports and other traveling documents for the players and technical teams are authentic and valid. G, to follow up on release of funds from the Ministry of Youth and Sports. H, to ensure that proper traveling arrangements are put in place for the team. I, to ensure that accommodation, transport, and other arrangements for the team, especially in matches played outside Ghana, are in conformity with FIFA, CAF, and other international accepted standards. J, to always ensure that members of the team, that's players and officials, act in a manner worthy of ambassadors of Ghana. K, to establish a regular and cordial relationship with the technical team in order to apprise themselves of all pertinent issues affecting the team. I, monitoring the activities of the team to ensure they are keeping with the mission and ethics of the association, and to ensure that appropriate policies and procedures are in place for the players and other officials, and that both are properly managed and supported, and to roll out strategies to promote and publicize the activities of the team. O, to work with the marketing department through competitions department to make the brand visible. P, ensure overall effective management of the team. Q, ensure timely procurement, availability and deployment of critical resources required by team. R, ensure a serene and positive atmosphere in team camp, as well as discipline and adherence to code of conduct by team members. This includes dress codes. S, support GFA marketing department to ensure delivery of any relevant commitments to sponsors, stroke partners, and general brand feel of team is in line with set criteria. F, prepare and ensure team adherence to activity schedule for both competitive and non-competitive matches as well as tournaments. U, support GFA communications department in coaching team members on proper communication. V, liaise between team and GFA ESCO. W, conduct research on venues for teams matches and ensure appropriate measures are put in place for at least optimal performance. X, to see to general welfare and security of team-wide support efforts to ensure that players maintain a very good psychological balance. Z, review team performance with coach. And then you have AA, prepare and present periodic reports to GFA ESCO covering all aspects of team's operations. BB, vigorously look for sponsorships to partners for the team. CC, responsible for preparing budgets for the team. So these speak to the exact
specifics.
Yes. But fortunately, the GFA also has a national teams department, which is headed by one of the most knowledgeable and experienced persons in Ghana football, who I consider the hero of this particular qualification, the Deputy General Secretary, Mr. Alex Asante. And so he, for me, is what I want to call the Chief Operating Officer for the Management Committee. And most of these things, because he's a Deputy General Secretary and he works at the GFA.
Full-time.
Yes, full-time. He ensures that this is done. So he liaises with me, ensures that many of these things are done. And he works so hard. He works so hard, Alex.
He's actually an unsung hero, huh?
I'm telling you.
Yes,
I mean, for me, anytime I've had to speak about this World Cup qualification, I always mention him and single him out. I mean, a lot of people played roles, as I have enumerated here. But I would always single out.
He's been there for.
I met him there.
Yes, he's been there for a long time.
I met him there. I mean, the first time I went on the ESCO was in 2004 when
he was there during an Abatla's time.
Yes, you know, at that time he was a staff of the ministry. So that was when the ministry had seconded staff working with the GFA. So when the issue of the autonomy came, the FA then gave those seconded staff. So he, I mean, you remember Alaji, I mean, the accountant and a few others. They were Ministry of Youth and Sports or National Sports Authority
at the time.
Employees who were seconded to the FA. So when the issue of the autonomy came in 2005, they were given an opportunity to choose whether they wanted to be with the FA or go back to the ministry, and then they chose to be with the FA. Yes, so I met Alex Asante at the FA, and he stood and is risen from protocol officer to deputy general secretary. And it's not just with GFA, FIFA has been match coordinator. You know, FIFA competitions, FIFA games, CAF started off, CAF and FIFA started off with him as a security and safety officer. Now he's risen to match coordinator for final games or big competitions. And so even CAF and FIFA recognize Alex Asante and what his capabilities are.
That's very, very, very true. I mean, history doesn't lie with those things, you know. That's very true. So that's basically the role that Management Committee plays in ensuring that, you know, the right things are done. Because you're not in charge of the other national teams, I will not touch on that. I want to go straight. I'm touching on the Black Stars. In this particular campaign that we had some really difficult moments. I mean, when we played 1-1 against Chad, we lost our first game against Comoros, and we went to Mali to win, and then came back, and then we've never looked back since then. At what point did we think Otto needed help?
I think that it had to do with the inability to qualify for the AFCON. I mean, from an ESCO point of view, I wasn't a part of the management committee then, but because of my role on the ESCO and the fact that we try to work together, so I've always been around the team. I mean, I love to travel to go and watch their games and all that, so I've always been around the team. And so although I was not part of a management committee, I was not part of their meetings, I think that the turning point had to do it when we didn't qualify for the AFCON. And that's where we all took a decision that, look, something had to give. We needed to tweak things. We needed to change things.
Was ESCO divided?
No. I think that there were people, there were views that suggested a complete overhaul. There were views that suggested that, look, we should tweak things. At the end of the day, the position of tweaking things was in the overwhelming majority. And that's what prevailed.
Because we heard, I mean, all these things were out there sometimes that some of the ESCO members wanted Otto out.
Oh, I mean, that won't be out of place. I mean, it won't be out of place. We were just speaking about Liverpool and what Kojo's position is and what my position is. Yes. So at the end of the day, I mean, we are not robots. We all don't think in the same direction. But the ESCO is a place where all viewpoints are tolerated. and are also interrogated. And at the end of the day, we would obviously go with what we consider to be a superior viewpoint or a viewpoint that so I could have an opinion, but on the basis of you also sharing your opinion and the interrogation of both, I could then begin to see maybe some wisdom in your proposal rather than what my initial view was. And then at the end of the day, we're able to reach a consensus and take a decision.
Do you think without the tweaking and the Schaefer conversation and all of that, Otto single-handedly could have qualified that into the World Cup?
Well, it still is Otto's work. At the end of the day, any suggestion...
Because in some games, you could see Schaefer's hand.
Well, I don't think so. You know, my view is that at the end of the day, Otto takes the decision. He has the benefit of all the expertise and the views around him. But at the end of the day, he would have to think all that through and decide whether it should be A or B or C, you know? And so there's a reason why coaches actually also informing their technical team, informing their backroom staff. There's a reason why they pick on particular people, because they need particular expertise. And so even the ability of a coach to recommend somebody or agree to a person shows the coach's appreciation of what he requires to make his work better. So I think that whatever we see out there is Otto's work.
Do you think that the call at the time for Otto's dismissal was fair?
Yes. I mean, I will not fault anybody who held that view, because they were also doing so on the basis of the results and what they've seen. And coaches have been sacked for less. And so I can disagree with that viewpoint, but I cannot fault it. And I cannot say that the person is wrong. I hope you understand me. The fact that I don't share a position does not make that position wrong. You know, it's easier for me to say today that the position of sticking to Otto has been vindicated. It's easier for me to say so. But I think that I also need to be magnanimous to also accept that it was also a legit call at the time on the basis of the results. But this is where the issue of leadership comes in. You must listen to all sides. You must also look at the information you have. You must look at all the arguments that have been raised and take a decision, and also be responsible for that decision. You know, clubs and countries have sacked coaches on the basis of non-performance and have not succeeded in what they've done. I mean, a case in point is Nottingham Forest. A case in point is Nottingham Forest. You know, so, and there are also others who have taken the decision and it has been beneficial. So at the end of the day, you have to weigh all that. So I will not fault my brother Kojo Adai-Mensah for saying that Slot must go, because he's saying that on the basis of
the results being chained out.
Yes. I am also not wrong in saying that I'm not in panic mode yet. I would want to wait a bit.
Be patient.
You know, I'm not there yet. So I will not say that those who said that he should go were wrong. But at the end of the day, you in leadership, you have a responsibility. One of them is to take the difficult decisions. If you take a decision which perhaps appeared unpopular at the time, but is vindicated over time, that also is a testament to your ability to also keep your head up when you have all the confusion and the chaos around you, and to take decisions that will be beneficial overall.
If you just joined us, my guest in the studio is Dr. Randy Abbey. He's a Black Stars Management Committee chairman. If you just joined us right here on Sporty FM on the Sporty Drive on 106.1, and I'm having that conversation with, I'm spending time with him this evening. He's a very busy man, but we've been able to get him here to help us out with some of the conversations. Do you think that not qualifying for AFCON was a rude awakening for Otto, even culturally?
I think so. And for me, it was difficult to take.
Did he actually understand or appreciate the cry of Ghanaians, the magnitude of not going to Africa and what it meant to us? Did he appreciate that? Or he saw it as a football game?
Just cast your mind back to Ghana versus Niger, Accra Sports Stadium. Jerry Afriye scoring a goal and Otto's reaction.
Yeah.
That should just describe what Otto himself as a person was going through.
Yeah.
And his reaction to that Jerry's goal should tell you what he himself was going through.
When you sit with him, I mean, in the aftermath of the AFCON qualification, that was a disaster. Anytime you sat with him, what did he say to you?
Well, I mean, he was worried. He thought that, he would have wished that things were different. But you see, sometimes I love to move on. But I can tell you that there were also things, yes, he's a coach. There's a reason why he takes twice the bonus. And there's a reason why he's paid how much he's paid. And therefore, there's a certain expectation. But, there are also many things that also engender performances. And I do not want it. Sometimes I stay away from those things because they might be misconstrued as making excuses for the coach or for people. But from where I sit and what I knew, things were quite rough and difficult. Don't forget that it was this government, when it came to power, through the Honorable Kofi Adams, that we even paid coaches from Duncan.
Yeah.
Through Siki Akuno.
Yeah.
Through
Kusapia?
No.
Well, Kusapia had already been paid.
The technical advisor at
This is Sporty FM, the voice of sports.
Qatar, who became the head coach. Chris Hughton.
Chris Hughton, yes.
Through Chris Hughton to even Otto himself. I'm just trying to paint a certain picture to you. Just trying to paint a certain picture to you. And to also let us also appreciate some of the things that were also happening at the time. So for all that period, so for all those people, we're expecting them to deliver. We're expecting them to provide results. Yet, we were also not playing our role as we should. So there are a lot of things. That's why I said that I also don't want it to be misconstrued as making excuses for anybody. But we also need to accept the fact that everybody has a role to play. The coach has a role, and that is why I said that the coach's responsibility is perhaps even the highest. And there's a reason why he's paid double. Because we appreciate that. And that is why when there's failure, you also will take double.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody along that chain also has a role to play. I've just read out to you all the things that management committees are supposed to do. If I show you my chat with Otto and the others, anytime they have issues, whether it's financial or whatever, they're on me. It's on me. It's in my phone. And when we finished the qualification in the dressing room, he said all that. He thanked me and raised all those issues. The minister, under pressure and everything, things ought to be done and also done in a particular way.
Yeah.
So there are a whole lot of things that must come together
to make it work.
And sometimes when some aspects are not in the mix, it creates problems. I say once again, it is not to make excuses for failure, but we also need to recognize that there are things beyond coaching that must also work.
What's your take on, I've heard you talk about this before, bonuses of management members, and I've heard you talk about this before when you went to Parliament and all of that at that time. What's your take on this bit about the minister putting out the budget for the team as requested for by Ghanaians? And of course, the president himself indicated that it has to be transparent and all of that. But there have also been calls by some football people saying, why would he want to put a budget out there, maybe 24 hours to a Black Star game, to destabilize the minds of the players? What's your take on that?
Well, I didn't see any player complain about release of budget. I was in camp with them. I didn't see any player complain. So sometimes when I heard some people speak to it and say this and that, I was in a camp with the place. I didn't see it. First of all, I mean, what is the big deal about Black Stars budget? What's the big deal? What is there to hide? Yeah, what's there to hide? Because sometimes it is the concealment of the information that also gives rise to all those rumors,
speculations and all that.
The peddling of untruths and the fabrication of lies and all that. I mean, since we started, first of all, President John Mahama, then as candidate Mahama, promised that he will make it available. Now, I think that in the first outing of the Black Stars, there was a certain, what I want to call oversight, and it wasn't done. And that was raised. So subsequently, the minister decided to do it. What is sacred about the budget of the Black Stars? How injurious would that be? To be honest with you, so if there's nothing to hide, what's the big deal? That is why, for example, I have discussed this issue of management bonus publicly, even with Parliament and everything, because I don't think that is something that is sacred or is fetish or is something that we need to. You understand me? People can disagree. People can agree. Government does not take decisions on the basis of seeking or finding the approval of every single person. You understand what I'm saying? So I really don't see the big deal with it. What are you disclosing?
Sporty FM.
It will cost us so much for airfare. It costs us so much for accommodation. Per diem costs us so much. If we win, this is what the bonus will be. What is the big deal about it? Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, something that sometimes maybe the numbers are inflated, something that sometimes, it goes into the wrong pockets for the wrong reasons. And that's the reason.
So that is why the publication is good. So that tomorrow, nobody can go and say that, nobody can come and sit here and say that they created this and they went to, because everybody's aware. Do you get what I'm saying? Everybody's aware. I mean, if we are paying players 10,000 cedis as a winning bonus, why must it be a secret?
Sporty FM.
If we've decided as a country and a football association that, look, we want to have a performance-related bonus scheme. So even though there's a winning bonus, the objective is to qualify for a tournament.
Yeah.
So when we agree on the 10,000 and you win a game, we'll give you 5,000. And if you're able to achieve the ultimate, you earn the other 5,000.
Yeah.
For me, I think that is a good thing to put in place.
Because it's progressive.
Yes. It's a good thing to put in place. And people should know that this is what we have put in place. So now that everybody is aware and the team has qualified, everybody knows that the team is entitled to all the other
5,000, 5,000.
Yes, because the whole plan was that you must qualify to end that one. So if tomorrow somebody hears that each player has been given X amount of money on the basis of how many games he played in that we won, and therefore how much he is due, why will anybody make noise over that? Do you understand me? The minister made it clear that as for management, we will not give you 1 cedi until you have achieved the qualification. So whilst everybody was getting 50%, so if you take a person like Otto, in his contract, it is stated that he gets 2 times what the players get. But of course, we're also applying what we have put in place to say that although you're entitled to this, we'll give you 50% of that. When you achieve the ultimate, you get it. So he is not even arguing that, no, what you are saying then varies my contract.
Yeah.
But he also appreciates that. What it even means is that tomorrow when we are writing out a contract for a new coach, we would have to then write it differently to reflect this.
Yeah.
Because somebody can then decide to litigate with you on the basis of that.
But that's not the conversation from the beginning.
But he appreciates that and is gone with that. So tomorrow if somebody hears that Otto has been given a check of this, everybody knows that it's because he was given only 50%. And the agreement was that if you get the ultimate, you get this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there is everything positive about, because I don't see, unless you have something to hide. I don't get it. If you have nothing to hide, what's the big deal? What I don't like, and I've made it, I had made clear, is that I don't like a situation where you change the rules midstream.
I mean, if you have agreed before
Yes.
it takes off,
Yes.
it can't change in the middle.
I don't, it's disruptive.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter whether it is about $100 or $20. We all have dealt with players.
Yeah.
We know what, even something negligible, what it can spark. So I don't like a situation where you would want to change the rules
In the middle
in
of
the
it.
middle. Let everybody be aware from the beginning that this is what we will do. Whether they like it or not, that is what you have put in place. Of course, you would also do consultation and let the people appreciate why you want to do what you're doing. And then from the onset, everybody knows that this is what we've put in place. This is what you're entitled to. This is what you are not entitled to. It doesn't become a problem.
Right.
Yes.
What's your take on, as soon as we qualified, I mean, influx of Ghanaian-born, players from outside showing interest in playing for the Stars and all of that. And there kind of like been a lot of divided opinions as to whether we should accept them or we should not. We've given examples of Inaki Williams. We've given examples of, what is his name? Semenyo, they all came from foreign backgrounds to join the team. Now there are others who perhaps we invited and were not too keen. Now they all want to show interest. What's your take on it? Are we going with our best foot forward, or you think that is too sentimental?
I think that is a conversation that we need to be very careful about. And I say that for a number of reasons. First of all, every Ghanaian or anybody who qualifies to play for Ghana should have the opportunity to fight for the shirt.
Sporty FM.
General principle.
Yeah.
To fight for the shirt. Now, I am aware of players who had been scouted. Some of them we had written to FIFA asking for clearance because maybe some of them had featured in a friendly or something for one country or the other. And we're waiting for that green light. And we perhaps didn't get a green light before we qualified. These are things that the public is not aware of. So tomorrow, if there's a friendly and you see that kind of a player, he is not in the category of those who turned us down.
Okay.
Do you get the point I'm making?
Okay.
You have a situation where you also had players who
There was one German boy you invited for and he couldn't get clearance.
We never got the
clearance. Okay.
So you have those players. You even have players who have been on the standby list, which means that the coaches had been monitoring them. And look, I'll give you an example. Take Sibo. Sibo had been monitored over time. Do you know how Sibo got to the team? In Chad, Elisha got a card, which made Elisha ineligible to play in the Accra match. Then, right at the airport, because from the stadium we moved to the airport to fly back to Accra. That's when we had meetings, and Otto said that he wanted Sibo, who was a standby player, to come. So Alex had to start the arrangement and everything to get Sibo to come to Accra for the Accra game against
Mali.
Mali. If the Elisha situation had not happened,
Sibo wouldn't have had a chance.
Maybe Sibo would never have had a chance of playing any of the games for the qualifiers. And if Sibo had been invited to play a friendly in, say, November, Japan and Korea, people would have referred to Sibo as one of those people who are achunai, as we say on the street.
Yeah.
But obviously, this is a player who was in the coach's plans. The coaches had been monitoring him. Mm-hmm. He was part of the standby list. The public was not aware of this. It is only the second yellow card situation of Elisha and his ineligibility to play in the Accra game that made Sibo come. Unfortunately for him, it appears that he came in and his the coaches have reposed confidence in him and he's played 2 more games and he's virtually become one of the darling players of the Ghanaian fans. So that's the Sibo story. So there are players also like Sibo who are being monitored and who anytime the coaches, if you take Caleb, Caleb was being monitored. It's the Unity Cup
in London.
When we also didn't get a benefit of some of our players because it didn't fall in the FIFA free window.
Yeah.
Then you had players like Caleb and others who had the opportunity to also come and play. And then after that, Caleb now has a place in the Black Stars. But for that situation, maybe Caleb, people would not have seen Caleb. So you have that category of players. And you might see some of them in the next 7 months or so. And it will be wrong for anybody to label them as Achunaye people.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Then you have those who had flatly turned us down and perhaps today say that they are available. I leave that to the coaches to take the decision. When they decide to take that decision, we'll all have a conversation around it for us to be able to appreciate why they want to take decision A or B. What we need to be mindful of is that, look, I pray for all our players to stay fit and be in good form for the next 7-8 months. But 7-8 months in football is a long time.
Yeah.
So we should also, on the basis of experience, stop seeing our World Cup squad as exactly what we see today. Because 7 months, 8 months in football is virtually a whole season.
Yeah. One ACL and you are gone.
And a lot can happen. In fact, there could be discoveries.
Yeah.
So are we saying that if, for example, there's a player who even shows some fantastic form in the next 2, 3, 4 months and is eligible to play for Ghana because he didn't play in the qualifiers, we shouldn't consider that player? So I think we need to have an open mind and not paint everybody with the same brush. And try and, yes, there are people who we know very well said that you can go to hell. But same will not go for almost everybody who did not participate in the qualifiers. Has
Nketiah indeed showed interest in playing for the Black Stars?
Officially, I'm not aware.
Okay.
I also read from the media. I mean, the people who say they've interviewed him, they've spoken to family and all that. That is what I read. But from an official point of view, I have no information.
Hatunodoi?
I have no information to that effect.
Okay. Yes. Amuzu?
It's still what I read.
The same way.
Yes.
Okay.
I do not know. You know, like I always say, I don't work at the GFA. And so I'm not a recipient of mails at the GFA. I am not in copy with a correspondent at the GFA. I will only know when I'm informed. But as I speak, I do not have any information to that effect. It could well be that there's some correspondence going on, but I'm not aware.
Okay. I need you to probably also speak to this issue of people say, oh, Otto has qualified us for the World Cup, but Otto should not be the one to take us to the World Cup. Because for the World Cup, it's not like you're playing Chad, it's not like you're playing Niger, you're playing world-class teams, and therefore, with our world-class players that we have, or so to speak, we need a more, for want of a better word, we need a more matured, experienced technical team led by a good technical person to the World Cup, and that Otto should not be the one to take us to the World Cup. What's your take on when you hear this? What do you say?
If Otto were not, first of all, like I say, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah,
I will not fault anybody. I will not say that their opinion is wrong, but I'm not bound by anybody's opinion. Same way, you are not bound by opinion. Yes, my point is that all the coaches who took us to the World Cup, what was their profile before we went to the World Cup. Yes.
From Djokovic?
No, somebody should tell me.
From Djokovic to Milo to Kwesi Appiah and then to now Otto.
Yes, somebody should tell me. What was their profile prior to working for Ghana?
So then it brings back the argument of this is our 5th time of going to the World Cup. We don't want to go and be like the first 4. So if we want to do better at the World Cup, then we need one with a bigger profile.
You see, I don't have a problem. People can decide to speak about the bigger profile. But you see, once again, I have said about Ghana's World Cup, I do not think that Ghana going to the quarterfinals of the World Cup was a disappointment. I do not think that Ghana going to the second round of the World Cup was a disappointment. You know, I mean, even Brazil, if you take out the issues of the distractions, the money and all that, yes, we didn't get out of our group, but what was our performance? Did we disgrace ourselves? We embarrassed ourselves with the off-field incidents, not the on-field. Even Qatar, our performance was not disgraceful. And if you look at all the teams that were eliminated from their group, I'm sure that majority of them had coaches whose profiles will be taller and longer than whatever profile you can find of a coach. Look, panditry is the easiest thing for anybody to do. It's the easiest thing. And that is why you can find coaches who were not successful in their practice but are top pundits. And they sit in judgment over others.
Gary Neville.
When they themselves.
Gary Neville.
Yeah, when they, whether it's Ghana or it's Abrochire, they are there, about. Punditry is the easiest to do. So you find coaches who failed or have not achieved anything, but on the basis of punditry, they then pass judgment and say all manner of things. And their word is law and everything. Like I said, I do not have a problem with anybody who says that go and get somebody else. That's their opinion. But from where I see it, we are contracted to Otto. I have not seen the employers of Otto say that let's have a conversation about whether we want to take Otto or not. What I know is that for every competition, we have a beef up of the technical team, whether it's AFCON or the World Cup, and especially the World Cup. We always have. In the area of the medical team, in the area of the technical team, whether it's scouting, whether it's video analysis, whether it's bringing other people with expertise and all that, we have that. And we are going to have that conversation. And that conversation is going to tell us whether indeed we are putting in place a plan to make sure that we have identified where our weaknesses are or places where we need to improve to ensure that we can have a better technical appreciation of what is before us. And I'm patient to have this conversation, for this conversation to take place and for us to plan.
Is it true we have one of the largest backroom staff?
Largest?
Yes.
Where?
The Black Stars.
Largest as compared to?
To other countries.
Jesus Christ.
So our backroom staff people, they plenty.
Please, just today, Mr. Google makes life easier for anybody. You can Google backroom staff of national teams across the world. You know, and sometimes people talk about, you see, they say world class. The same world class they talk about, the world class comes at a cost.
Yeah.
The world class comes with a certain backroom staff, which comes at a cost. You have an Akpeteshi budget, but you have a champagne taste. You know, sometimes we need to be also a bit
realistic. But the fact that I have a champagne taste doesn't mean that I have an appetite, but it doesn't mean I can't have a champagne taste.
No, I don't have a problem. But how do you fund it? How do you fund it?
Maybe in my mind, the appetite can turn into champagne in my mind. You never know.
Well, so we can get into the level of esoteric science. if that is how we should. You get a point I'm making. I'm just saying that you need to. It's even like players. You know, for a club side, I don't have a goalkeeper. A good goalkeeper. I identify one and I buy. For a national team, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I have to, by all means, find somebody who's eligible to play for my country. If I have a problem with a fullback, unlike a club side that I can go and scout and go and buy
somebody in, yeah.
I have certain restrictions, you know. So you're a country that you believe that paying $50,000 a month to a coach is extremely high. Those that you say they are world class, how much are they paid? Those that you say they are world class, what is the kind of backroom staff
they have
that they would want to work with? And how much are those people paid? And are you prepared to pay that? Even with our current situation, there are many people who believe that we spend too much money on the Black Stars. But some of the things that people keep talking about doesn't come cheap. It's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and so sometimes when we make some of these requests and these propositions, I ask myself, within which context are we saying these things? Are you in a position to want to pay a coach $100,000 or $150,000 or $200,000 a month? Fee, are you? We are quick to do exchange rate.
The nurses will go on strike.
I hope you understand.
Yeah.
So I like it when we every time also speak within the context of what we know
and what we can afford.
We are ready. Yes, we are ready to do. And I mean, you and I were here when at the point we were paying 6,000 and went to 8,000, then 10. And we thought that was something outside the world. Then 12, then 15, then 30, then 35. Then we are where we are today. You know, and we all know that with those amounts of monies that we were prepared to pay, there were only some particular kind of coaches that there's no wonder that anytime those coaches came and they were able to achieve something, they moved on for bigger money.
Yeah.
Almost each
Djokovic,
one of them.
All of them, yeah.
That anytime there is that big display, then
it's like they use us to build their profile.
But you also thought you were using them by paying cheap. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it's we need to, like I say, sometimes panditry. You know, it's we've all done some before.
I know.
So sometimes, and I'm not saying this to bastardize any opinion, but I'm just saying that sometimes we need to balance these things against the reality and the situation that we find ourselves in and what we can do and we cannot do. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem if we think that there's somebody better than Otto, but people judge Otto on the basis of the data, the results. At the point that they were asking for his sack, it was on the basis of the results.
Yeah.
Today, why are we also not speaking to the basis of his performance with the World Cup qualifiers? And to ask whether a coach with that result should stay or not stay. Look at how some big countries are struggling in the qualifiers.
Anago?
Yeah, look at how they're struggling. And somebody will say that, but you played only Chad, and you played only... And who did they also play?
Benin.
And who?
Lesotho.
Zimbabwe. Rwanda. Yes! You know, so sometimes we make it look as if...
But there are no more minnows on the continent.
So if we know this, there are no minnows. If you were saying this in 1997... There are no minnows. 97, why weren't we saying that?
Togo can never beat Ghana.
Yes. 28 years ago, we were saying this.
Yes. I was swearing heaven and earth that Togo can never beat Ghana in Bobo Dioulasso. Yes.
So sometimes, you know, I'm not with you.
You are very, I mean, by virtue of where you sit and, you know, your work and the work with the Black Stars, you've seen what Otto is trying to build with the team. I mean, I've heard him say they're becoming more like a family, kind of. You know, the team's becoming more like a family. He wouldn't want any disruptions within the team. What do you think is the biggest strength of the Black Stars right now?
Well, I think that there's a positive vibe. I think that we've moved from a point where confidence was down and low to a point where there is belief. and confidence is up, and there's hope. You know, how we build on this, because we are not a made material yet. I think that is still work in progress. There's a lot of work that must be done. There's a lot of work done. We are not a finished article yet, by far. And there's a lot of work done. And I granted an interview the last time. Somebody was asking me, what are Otto's weaknesses that I've identified? And I said, well, me, apart from Christ Jesus, I don't know of anybody who doesn't have
a weakness.
And so, first of all, by virtue of the fact that I believe that he has he's just like anybody and has a weakness, there's a weakness. The most important thing is what you're doing about that weakness, you know. And for me, that's a more progressive way of looking at it. So I'm happy that there's a positive vibe. Look, I was at the stadium and I was excited. When we played Mali, I was excited. When we played Comoros, I was excited. What I saw, the people. And I related that to when we lost to Niger at Accra Sports Stadium. The level of despondency, the heartbreak, the disappointment, and with what has happened now. And been thinking of what will happen if we're able to build on this and do even much better. And for me, that ought to be the focus.
Going to the World Cup, I mean, I remember those days at Accra Sports Stadium, there was this big writing at the Osu end. They would have written that observation is good, but observation participating to win is the best. If you remember that part, where the hearts of people used to be a lot. And they had written that on that big wall there. Going to the World Cup, 4 times already we've been there. It means that our innocence has been completely broken already. Where do you think we can define success at the World Cup if we get there?
Well, you see, I think that we also ought to, and I hope that nobody takes me out of context. I think that we also ought to look at where we've come from to this point. So it's not as if we keep building. Let's not forget that in 2018 we failed to qualify. Let's look at our AFCON performances after that. Yes, in 2022 we edged out Nigeria to go to Qatar. But after Qatar, have we been able to build?
We kept plummeting.
Up, Then you now have what I call this positive trajectory. I think we should be patient and work on that. I don't want to start talking about quarterfinals or whatever. In any case, we also know that the format for this World Cup is also different from the others. Now you have more countries, and you are not doing a straightforward second round and then second round to quarter. There's one more level. So this World Cup is also...
So we should lower our expectations.
I'm saying that I would take things one after the other. I would want to look at, first of all, qualifying from the group. On December 5th, we would find out
which group.
And then once we see which group we are in, then we can realistically look at what our chances are. But you can't sit here and, even without knowledge of which group you are going to be in, start saying that we should do semi-final, we should do quarter-final, we should do whatever. I mean, that will be, it's not, this business is not a business of lotto forecasting. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that, first of all, as a person, I appreciate the depth to which we sank. And I appreciate the positive trajectory that we are on. And the fact that we need to build on it. How we fare at the World Cup is something else. I would want to wait for the group. I would want to say that, look, I would expect us to push to at least qualify from our group. And I would want to look at our performances at the World Cup, and I want to see us improve, make sure that we qualify for the next AFCON, make sure that we have a solid outing. We would have a World Cup in 2030. I think that we ought to look at the building blocks. You know, it's easier for us to say, we're going to World Cup, we should do semi-final, we should get to final.
Do you think we lack anything? Because player for player, indeed, we have some of the great players, the best players that we can talk about the league. Player for player. I mean, if you look at your Kuduses, we look at the Jordans and co., these are not bad players at all. I mean, in terms of looking at where they play, Premier League, La Liga, and all of that, these are not just substandard players.
You see,
will the difference be technical?
I don't like. There have been coaches with bigger profiles who've gone to the World Cup and not won a single match. So sometimes, yes, profile is important and all that, but there are a lot of things. There are teams that have had star-studded players, and they've gone to the World Cup, and it's not. When we went to the World Cup in 2006, none of the teams we played against had players whose profiles were lower than ours. Yet, we did what we did. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yes. And so, as they say sometimes, it's about the fight in the dog, not the dog in the fight. And so, it is how we get into the World Cup, how we prepare ourselves mentally, psychologically, the kind of scouting we do, the coaches doing their work, the players also deciding to do more than what is required of them. You know, I just want to see a continuation of the positive trajectory that we are on. I'm not in the mood to start speaking about semi-final and all those things.
Where do you want to see us improve in the team, in all the departments?
I think everywhere. I mean, we need to improve. Even our goalkeepers need to improve. Our defenders need to improve. Our midfielders need to improve. Our goal scoring must improve. Our set pieces must improve. We must improve everywhere. Like I said, we are not.
But to be honest with you, our set pieces have improved.
Yes, but you see,
it's because we had the new set piece coach.
You see, it's improved, but it means that we it's an area where we can do more.
Yeah.
And we need to look at also doing more. Because the same way you scout teams also scout you. I hope you understand me. So we don't rest, we don't relent. We need to continue building on what we have. And that is what we need to do continually. And that is what I am prepared to look at and focus on. Are we improving? Rather than to say that it must be a quarter-final, it must be a second final, it must be a semi-final, it must be a final. I want to look at the improvement, that look, on this positive trajectory, we are still improving, we are still doing better. That is what I want to look at.
Well, if you just join me, I'm talking to Dr. Randy Abbey. I know his time is almost up because I know he has to run away as well. But what would you like to leave as a legacy for? Because under 20, you left a legacy there, you won. Under 23, you left a legacy there in Maputo, you won African Cup, All African Games. What would you like to leave as a legacy as Black Star Management Committee Chairman?
Well, I mean, I think that first of all, we've qualified for the World Cup. That's a good one, especially.
This is not the first time I qualified for the World Cup. You have done that so many times. You've played many roles in doing that.
This is the first time that you were unable to qualify for even AFCON.
That's true.
That you've qualified for the World Cup. This is the time where you went to your lowest, yet you were able to qualify for the World Cup. So it's a completely different environment. I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's a completely different. When we were qualified for the World Cup, we were smashing our opponents in the qualification to the AFCON. So this one feels special to me. This one, for me, is different. It's special. You understand me? I just think that, look, we're talking about bringing back the love. We're talking about winning back the love of Ghanaians. We're talking about making Ghanaians happy with the performances of the Black Stars. I think that we need to continue. I am happy we've qualified for the World Cup. I'm looking forward to a very good outing at the World Cup. I'm looking forward to a qualification to the next AFCON and a super performance there. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe at the next AFCON, something will happen.
Are you hinting? Are you hinting?
Just maybe something could happen at the next AFCON.
Really?
Yes. Just maybe.
Okay. We'll be holding you down to it, and then But Randy, I like to thank you. I like to thank you. I know, Charlie, you are wearing many hats, and I don't envy you one bit for the pressure under which you come and sometimes handling a certain part of Ghana's economy, as well as trying to work out football to make it work and all of that. Between now and next year June for the World Cup.
At the point, Dr. the former GMPC boss,
Keke Sapong.
Was chairman of the Black Stars.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
I know.
And then he was chief executive of GMPC.
Yes. But the Cocoa Board and GMPC, pressure there everywhere.
Not be small.
I know. So between now and next year, June, for the World Cup itself, you guys have lined up some friendlies for the FIFA free dates, right?
So, yes. So this is where the absence from AFCON even bites.
Because that would have been good preparatory grounds.
Yes, it would have been a good this thing because November, I mean, we've put it out, we're having the Asian one with Japan and Korea 14th and 18th. December, there's AFCON. We won't be there. You would have gotten a minimum of 3 games. That is, you're even playing the group stage. You don't have that. And so I know that we're working hard to see what can be possible in December. You might not have your players who play in England, but of course, it's also an opportunity for you to also
check out other players.
Because, I mean, pretty much, we pretty much know the guys in England. We don't need any observation any longer. So we're looking at what will be possible to cook in December. And then we have to then take advantage of the FIFA free dates in 2026. So that's what we're working at. And of course, the coaches will be monitoring all the players, those who are currently in the team and those who are not yet in. And then they'll be taking advantage of a friendlies to also look at a few more. And I just want to say that when you see players that were never part of the team or never heard of, let's not panic. Let's not say it's Achunai. You don't know. The coaches have been monitoring players. Some haven't had their chance. That's why I brought the Sibo example. And so I think that we should just exercise patience and then see them. I can understand the issue of commitment and patriotism. And I think that those are also strong qualities that we need to emphasize on. And so I appreciate why some people also hold those positions against some players who actually turned us down. And so, but I'm saying that we shouldn't use the same brush to paint everybody. Yes, and have an open mind. We have 7 to 8 months more before 11th of June when the World Cup kicks off. And so let's allow the technical team the space to try and take advantage of the numerous opportunities that come by the way of friendlies to try and build a formidable team for us.
Japan and Korea, okay, maybe after the draw, you got to know what the clubs, the teams we'll be playing against, and then be able to line up friendlies with countries with similar styles of play to be able to monitor them and all of that. Okay.
You know that Japan and Korea, even when they signed the contract, there was a proviso that it will only happen if we qualify for the World Cup. Yes. So although the contract had been signed earlier, there was
maybe Japan and Korea, they are having a feeling they're probably going to play an African team in the World Cup.
The probability is high.
Yes.
Especially when you're having 9 and possible 10.
Because Brazil is actually playing Senegal.
Brazil wanted to also play us. But we had signed up to play Japan and Korea already. In fact, there are about 3 or 4 other countries that reached out after the qualification. But of course, we had signed to play Japan and Korea already in November. Yes.
Brazil is playing Senegal and Tunisia. I think so at some point.
There are about 3 or 4 countries that have reached out after we qualified. Of course, we won't be able to play them.
Well, Randy, I'd like to thank you. And how's Coach Bash doing? Bashir, Heart of Lions.
Yes, it's there.
Are you winning the league this season?
I don't want to put a lot of pressure on them. I think that
you did quite well last season.
Yes, so. I mean, coming from a position of almost being relegated, I mean, to play second with a difference of 3 points, I think that that was a good performance, and they know that they have my total support, and I'm doing everything possible for them to be able to have a convenient and conducive environment to work, and they would have no excuses. And so I think that I've told the coach, and in a couple of interviews I've granted, although I've not watched the team, what I've read suggests that we need to improve with respect to goal scoring. We need to improve on that, and once we are able to get that right, we'll be swinging.
How is Kurt doing with his new CAF and FIFA appointments anyway?
In fact, I was with him this weekend in Cairo. You know, I was the match commissioner for the Super Cup. CAF had actually approached me for the Champions League final, but it coincided with the Unity Cup. So I couldn't, so I turned it down. And then they approached again for the Super Cup. And I thought that it won't be good to turn that down again. So I agreed. And interestingly, that's my first commissioning of a match. You know, for all these years, I declined.
Oh, wow.
I don't...
Why do you take it this time then?
Well, you see, for CAF to identify you, especially when I have not done in all these years, from 2004, being on the FA, I have not done any commissioning. For them to have identified me for the Champions League final meant something. And for them to come back when I didn't take up the Champions League to offer the Super Cup, I thought that, look, I mean, and I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed it. These days, because they have the general coordinator, so the match commissioner's role is a bit made easier. So the
maybe they're penning you down for CAF president. In
no, not at all.
You know, like
no.
Then we have to push.
That will be my line.
Then we have to push Kurt to get there.
Well, he's now second. He's one of the vice presidents.
Second vice president. So
he's around that area.
I'm sure he's excited by that job anyway.
Oh yeah, he was there, and it was quite. You know, when we got to the airport, we were on the same flight to Cairo, and we got to the airport, and then the CAF people, they brought his Mercedes. So, can he go with me? They said no. They said, oh, no.
He can't go with you.
No, he can't go with me. So, I mean, he should go into his Mercedes, and then he's going to a different hotel. Yes, Cafe School. And then I had to wait for my Kia.
Kia money.
I had to wait for my Kia Mini SUV. Match commissioner to sit inside. And he was trying to tell the people that, no, that's a cocoa. At CAF, they don't know cocoa.
What do you think of us as a 24-hour sports channel?
Well, I think that is good. It's good to have something like that. It's different. The point is that I have not had time to really listen.
How can you listen when you carry Ghana cocoa for your back?
I don't listen. I don't watch. You know, so when I go on the gadget and I see. So sometimes people will post videos or things that were said. That's what I get to. But I'm unable. The only time I get to listen to radio is when I'm in the car. But outside the car, I'm unable to listen to radio. I'm unable to watch TV. I mean, I don't know what happens on Good Morning Ghana. Unless I go on my phone and somebody has
posted something.
Yes. Then I get to see that this happened. But I can't. Pressure that. Well, we are a 24-hour sports channel, and you know we've had that dream way before, and we're trying to put together a couple of things. The FA people think sometimes we criticize them too much. I don't think that the issue has to do with criticism. I think it's the how. I think it's the language. I think we must be able to. Distinguish between criticism and outright condemnation and kind of creating some terrible image for a product or an association. I think that we all need to do an introspection. You know, sometimes, like I said, panditry is the easiest. I mean, like they say in Trikasa Onto, you know. But we sometimes must be mindful. It is that same product that we are all going to eat from.
Yeah.
So by all means, you must criticize. By all means, you must profile alternative views. You must bring people who also think differently, because the FA must also hear viewpoints that are different from it, and be able to. Identify those that are superior or are important that must be incorporated. But we sometimes must also be careful, our choice of words, the language, sometimes the outright fabrications, the half-truths, the conjectures. You know, we need to be careful about that, because it takes a lot to brand a product and to want to push that product. So you also don't want to have a partner who is seen as wanting to denigrate the product. But I'm saying that there must be a fine balance between constructive criticism and criticisms that are born out of the
envy, hatred,
the quest
jealousy,
to get the right thing done. That must be different from when you just perhaps don't like people, or you just think that, look, it's an opportunity. Sometimes some of us, we come and sit in, and when we are speaking, we are thinking of that group that is going to applaud us. Say that we do Canadian or but there are consequences to all those things. So I don't think that anybody who is in leadership should have a problem with constructive criticism or criticism. I think it is it's the choice of words. And with somebody like you, with all your experience, 3 decades and all that, I'm sure that you also be able to help. You know,
we're trying. We're trying.
You're able to. I mean, back in the days, there were some things that we said that
there was fire.
Today we will not be excited if those things were played back. At us. But I mean, thank God we're all growing and all that. So I think that we must really come together and see how we can all work together.
Interesting.
To grow footy.
I'm looking forward to having Kurt on my show here, you know, one of these days.
But you should work to his office. Is this your friend?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, he's your friend. You and him go way back.
And we live 3 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, you and him go way back. So you should just, the same way you called me and said, Charlie, we for do something. It should be the same way.
Somebody is asking a very interesting question here. He says on a lighter note, I should ask you, have you heard from your friend Sungu?
True. I think he sent me a congratulatory message when I was appointed. Yes, you know, and he always will sign off fire. So I think that, but I haven't seen him physically in a while. Yes,
Okay. He and Painter are battling in court, so you know. So yeah. Charlie, Randy, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, I know you have other meetings and all that, but Charlie, thanks for the honor done us by coming all the way to the studio. We're really grateful to you. Yeah. All right. So if you just tune in, we've been talking to Dr. Randy Anete Abbey, CEO of Cocoa Board and Black Stars Management Committee Chairman. You've just been listening to an interesting conversation that we had. I'll be back to sign off.